Hello and welcome to the Temptation Podcast. This is the Inferno, episode 21. Today's topic is the reprobate mind. So, speaking of the reprobate mind, we're talking about relationships with narcissists, toxic people, sociopaths, psychopaths. And so I was guided to share today about the reprobate. And chances are, if you've been in a toxic relationship with a narcissist, you'll relate to these, because it took me a lot of years to realize that I was in a relationship that this person was only pretending, was just playing a movie role in my life, playing with my life, playing with my children's life, was never genuine, was just putting on a facade, as they know in the narcissistic community. Or maybe you're new to this realization today, that these people are born with the same internal compass that we are. So a narcissist isn't born, they're created in youth. And us as sensitive ones, or genuine people, authentic people, we're vulnerable to these predators because we live in the heart space. We love unconditionally. We are builders. We're creators. And whatever went wrong in these people's youth, they've chosen to have no conscience, to ignore their moral compass. My belief, and yours may be different, but my belief, and I want to share this, is that we're all born with that internal compass, with a moral compass that Creator gave us built in our DNA, in our hearts, in our being, to know right from wrong. And of course, as youth, we all test the boundaries of right or wrong, right? But eventually a healthy person grows out of that, and they listen to their gut, they listen to their conscience, and they are righteous, and they walk in truth. So for a healthy person who may be on their healing journey, compared to a person who is chosen to be a narcissist, we do right by others because we try to better ourselves on our paths. The narcissist uses their predators to suck that life force energy from healthy people to get their own physical needs met. And so it's very low vibration, and to prove that they know what they're doing, if they showed you in the beginning of the relationship who they truly were, they know damn well that you'd have nothing to do with them. So this is the very dangerous part with these narcissists, toxic people, sociopaths. It proves that they do, and it proves that they premeditate, because in the beginning, they wouldn't put that best foot forward. They wouldn't do those kind gestures. They wouldn't open your car door for you. They wouldn't speak sweet nothings to you. So this goes to prove how wicked they are. So for me, coming out of being, 12 years played by this person who was always pretending and always creating chaos in the stability that I needed in my life, especially after losing my son, it just goes to show you how dangerous and how vile and just how very weak they are. Because we shouldn't be playing with other people's lives, right? Life is limited in this lifetime. If you believe in reincarnation, incarnation like I do, you live more than one life. But our physical reality is that we only have so much limited time here on the earth plane. And so getting right within ourselves and being righteous, listening to that internal compass within us that our Creator built into us, And that is the difference between a person who may have wounds that they've carried in their lifetime, right? Because none of us are perfect. And the difference between us is trying to do right by others to improve ourselves. Meanwhile, the narcissist or toxic person continually tries to get one over on other people, use people, step on the necks of other people to get whatever they're chasing, whatever supply that they're chasing, to feel like they are getting one up on somebody else. They're users, they're abusers. And if they haven't been physically abusive with you, they are definitely psychologically abusive and definitely emotionally abusive, which is very difficult when you have this realization. So some of the signs, if you're dealing with somebody who's been given over to the reprobate mind, and I just want to say this real quick too before I go on. It's going to get a little bit biblical, but I think it's important that we do not leave behind the spiritual aspect of what narcissism is. We can't just go by, and I was inspired to share this from somebody that I'm learning from that's helping me on my healing journey, that it takes both pinpointing that somebody is a toxic person or a narcissist, and you will tell by their actions, because in the end, they don't hide who they are. Their arrogance, when they've already groomed another supply to jump onto, to monkey branch to, they won't care that you see behind that mask, and they'll show you who they truly have been right from the beginning. And that's why it's very, very dangerous, because they are premeditated. They premeditate. They know that they're not listening to their conscience in them, that God creator, the Holy Spirit's within us. So they will go against. For an example, the person I was with for 12 years would walk right by our wedding photos, pictures of my children and myself on his way out the door in the morning. The one picture frame that I always thought was very beautiful that our wedding photo was in had a saying on it that said, "What God has joined together, let no man separate." And this person walked right by those things every morning on his way out the door to go to work and go into work, ignoring the conscience, ignoring the Holy Spirit within them, and screwing the coworker, and then coming home to me. So these people are very dangerous. They leave a trail of devastation. If you've married them legally, good luck getting out of it. It drags on and on and on. They don't want you, but they don't want to make anything clean cut with you. They'll blindside you when they leave if you don't discard them first. I'm getting on and on in this heartfelt share because it's had a huge impact on not only my precious life, but my children's precious life. And when I woke up out of the fog of the realization of, no, you don't just have alcoholism problems, you have a personality disorder, in which therefore I feel, this is where the spiritual aspect comes into it. When you're that low vibration, when you're lying, when you're deceiving, when you're cheating, when you're being malicious to somebody that you're supposed to, that loves you, there's opportunity, and I seen it with that opening the door to entity attachments. And I guess I've never seen it personally and physically in my life, but I seen it this time. And I will never second guess my intuition ever again, because that's another thing they will do. They will leave you so confused, so chaotic, so disoriented that you question your own moral compass, your intuition, I want to say. Now, for me, I stayed faithful to this person for 12 years, tried to lift this person up. My empathy never wavered, because when I love, and I still do, and I always will. They will use that vulnerability, that precious gift of God Creator against you. So some of the signs that you may have encountered somebody with a reprobate mind is they are morally deprived. To me, moral compass comes from within, like I said. And this narcissistic, toxic person, it's a learned behavior because they actually have that Holy Spirit, that moral compass built in to them as well, but they choose to ignore it because they live by the flesh. They're very impulsive, feel good moments in the moment, and they bore very easily. So this is also a sign of a reprobate mind, their wickedness. They're lying, they're cheating, betraying, and actually they're very, you could have done nothing but just love this person, and their wickedness was they hated you for it. They're greedy. Nothing is ever enough for these people. They can be in a relationship. Now, this don't have to be just an intimate relationship. This is what I share because this is the biggest influence in my life. But they have a level of greed within them. They're never satisfied with what they have. And they go on. That's why a lot of them have addictions. And that's why they go on to the next, because you were never going to be enough for them. They have an emptiness within them. They haven't turned and faced the Holy Spirit. They haven't turned and faced God, Creator, whatever you want to call it. They haven't faced their shadows. And so it's all about me, my, and it's very fleshly. They hate. And this is something I've realized, that the more that I loved, the more that I was in a place of forgiveness for things that I should have never forgiven, especially when the pattern repeated itself. See, forgiveness is for self first. Forgive me, Father, that I was fooled and betrayed so deeply. But forgiveness would be if they just sinned / erred one time as a human, because we all do, and then they learned from that behavior. That's not what happens with a narcissist or a toxic person. They're greedy. They're full of hate. They're full of envy. So if you're a very genuine person, you laugh at your flaws, you know you have flaws, you're just a genuine person, you're authentic, you walk your talk, meaning I'm faithful, I'm a loving wife. That's who I was, and I was the whole 12 years. They will hate you, and they're envious of that. And it's all within them. That's the thing. The bizarre part about this toxic personality disorder, spiritual also as well, is they envy it and hate it, but they do nothing to change for the better. They're always playing, they're always deceiving. So deception, these people are murderers, and whether it not be physical or not, they are murderers of souls. There is so many people who do not make it out of a toxic, narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopath relationship alive. They'll murder you psychologically. They'll murder you emotionally, and sometimes, sadly, physically. So never sink to their level. Never allow yourself to. I know I don't even have it in me, right? My conscience wouldn't allow me to be a liar and a cheater to the man that I loved. That's just who I am, and I'm so grateful that no matter who I encounter on this journey of 49 years on this planet, I have not allowed anybody to persuade me to be somebody that's full of hate and low vibe. And if you've noticed, a lot of times these people are the ones in school that are the shapeshifters, the ones looking for attention, and they don't grow out of it. They're self-satisfying, no matter whose neck or who they hurt, no matter how much time of your life they waste. They were only playing a part. And again, I witnessed this. In the end of it, this person's fake facade dropped. He didn't care. There was a level of arrogance there that was very evil. And they just went ahead and monkey branched off to the next person, who I do not call victim, because this person knew he's married, still married to this day. They're very vile with their acts. There's no amount of low that they won't do. And trust me, if you are a victim of one of these demonic people, you don't want to know everything they've done behind your back. You don't want to know all the lying. You don't want to know all the cheating. These people will sleep with prostitutes. These people will have one night stands and then come home and sleep with you. They behave in a way where they are so disrespectful and they have no conscience. They don't care. Again, like I said, this dude would walk right by our wedding photos every morning. And by my door, I have a picture of both of my children, one who I've lost physically. He didn't care. He didn't care. And this is what you will see when you have somebody that's been given over to the reprobate mind. So a few more things that I want to share before I read the kind of lengthy Bible verse for this episode is, when they're finally done using you for whatever it was, source of supply, using you to hide behind a facade that they carry, that they wear to make themselves appear to be, quote, whatever we would call normal, to fit in, they move on to where they won't be asked to be adults or responsible. So if you start asking them questions, if they simply can just get bored with you, because that's how impulsive they are. They very underdeveloped minds, but they've also opened themselves up because of all the lying and deceiving and cheating and low vibration and alcohol, drugs, pornography. They love it. It's all about that flesh, and they have no conscience on control, self-control, and ultimately they are destroying themselves. So they won't stay with you. They'll monkey branch off to their next supply who will not hold them accountable. I know for my situation, and I'll mention this here because I got slandered about a month ago. In my situation, like I said, this person, I mistaken it all for alcoholism. Not true, because behavior did not change. And I was starting to voice my concerns. Of course you do when you love somebody. And hey, you're starting to drink again more. I mean, it went from one tall boy to two to six to a whole case to hiding it to vodka in my freezer. And the minute you start doing that, they're already grooming somebody else. They always have to have attention elsewhere, whether it be social media, work is one of their favorite places. And so what happens is they will leave you behind and they will monkey branch to a person who won't hold them accountable, that'll go ahead and drink with them, do their drugs with them, have sex out of wedlock with them, have marital affairs with them, and that is them going back to the vibration that they are in. They don't want to go to the light, and it's almost like the more you love them, the more they despise you and hate you. So they need others to regulate their emotions. Man, did I never could make sense of this. You know, he would come home and I'd be like, dang, who am I getting today? What mood are we in? And again, I blamed it all on the alcohol abuse, but it was so much more than that. It didn't change for the better. In fact, it got worse because I was asking this person to be conscious, use their moral compass, their righteousness within them that God gave them, to not self-destruct by the overconsumption of alcohol. And it was never going to change. It was only pretended to change, right? So they sabotage relations that they are actually stable in. So if you were with a toxic narcissist and you provided stability in a home life for them that was very stable, they'll sabotage it. They'll destroy it. And I know for myself, when that awareness came for me, to me, and my eyes were awakened to the reality of what it's been for 12 plus years. It was very heartbreaking on my end, but knowing that that person is just going to project onto me and blame me and point the finger at me because they are not going to hold themselves accountable. and they will go back to the vibration that they are in. I know for in my instance, this person that my husband, still to this day, 8+ almost 9 months later, this person don't give a shit about them, because if this person did, they'd be holding them to account of the drinking issues and, wanting to see them grow, heal, and evolve instead of staying where they're at. So they'll destroy stability. And this is not the first time this person's done this, and it wasn't just with me. This person had a broken up family, was told lies all of his life. But anytime my husband would go to meet the father in his situation, and I'm very cautious here because I will never say names. I'm sharing my life experience so that it can help others, and it helps me to get it up and out. I've been through terrible abuse that I didn't even know I was in. When you love somebody to the degree that you're in a marriage and you think it's building and growing and evolving and overcoming obstacles, and this person blindsides you, it's very abusive. I am in counseling, but when this person, I digress, when this person had the opportunity to go meet with the father figure more than once, every time that he's had the opportunity, he does something that is self-destruct. So it's not just me. It wasn't just my children. And it won't be peaceful for the next one neither. There is redemption for people like this if they turn to God, but there is no human being on the planet that can heal them unless they turn and face Creator, the Holy Spirit, and first of all, stop denying that they have an issue. So they're jealous and they hate authentic people. Again, I already kind of touched on that. They have no sense of self. And so because of whatever the dynamic was in their childhood, it could have been the typical things we think of as abuse, physical, mental, emotional, or it could be, and it usually is always the mother, not usually, I've been taught that it's always the mother, always, even if there's an absent parent, the whoever raises the child, it could be a grandmother, creates this codependency really in the narcissist, that they lose their identity. And a lot of times it's from a mother who's made this child a golden child, female or male. A lot of times it's a mother who wants to put a fake facade on to the world, pretend their family's all perfect when there's no perfection in it. Nobody wants to face the family dynamic lineage issues, which I'll be doing a video on healing family lineage here soon. They lose a sense of self, and they're never going to live up to this pressure that this parental person put on them to be. It's unattainable. And so that's the sad part about these narcissists, is they're very inauthentic, and they lack of a self, an identity, and they're always seeking outside of themselves to satisfy that. And I said this to my husband as he left, when he said this quote to me, which was definitely from the mother's lips. I'm going to find my happiness because I've never had that. And I said to this person, because I do love them, who I thought they were, your happiness doesn't come from me, and it definitely don't come from this bimbo. Go be by yourself. And a narcissist will not. That's why they always have another supply lined up. They lack a depth of their self. They have turned so far from God. They've turned so far from their moral compass that God gave them in their bodies. And they're using their vessel as just the impulsive, fleshly actions supply outside of themselves. So they use you as a buffer. They may get with somebody that's sensitive, that's compassionate, that's forgiving. Because like I said, they put a front on in the beginning, and they know that they're doing it. Proof of that is In the end, they show you exactly who they are, and they know darn well if they showed you their true colors in the beginning, you'd fucking want nothing to do with them, and you'd run for the fucking hills before they even, the lying, the deceiving. They will lie about stuff that they don't even need to lie about, and the deceiving, and definitely the cheating. So narcissists are made up of lust. Like I said, it goes back to not listening to their moral compass and that built-in mechanism that Creator gives all of us. They're all about the fleshly ways, the quick feel-goods, whatever feel-goods. A lot of them have addiction issues, to whether it be alcohol, drugs, sex, pornography. Social media is huge. It's building and stroking. Like, we have all of us have egos, but what the narcissist does is create such a false mask that they do not and will not allow anybody to see their vulnerabilities. And a lot of times it's abandonment issues that come from them, and they'll learn that about you. They'll find that commonality, whatever it is they can observe from you. And in the end, they will use your beautiful gifts. They will use your vulnerabilities against you. So this is a little longer episode, guys. No apologies. It needs to be said. We're going to talk a little more about the reprobate mind. This is get a little bit preachy, but please see things as symbolism. And again, in my perspective, God, Creator, whatever it is, truly, has created us with a moral compass built right in the heart, the truth, the way. And it's up to us to listen to our consciousness and to do things righteously. Do right by yourself, do right by others, cause no harm. So God's wrath on unrighteousness, and please forgive me because I'm reading directly out of the Bible today and it's very small. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness, because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. So basically, there it is. God has showed us. God built right in us a moral compass. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power of Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to the wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of incorruptible God into the image made like corruptible man. Oh, speak it, right? So it's like, oh no, we're going to make our own rules. We're going to ignore our God within us, and we're just going to do whatever feels good in the flesh. This is a freaking narcissist, I'm telling you. So it's basically saying that, man in his own mind has changed the moral compass to go, no, I'm just going to do this, right? So worldly. So therefore God has also gave them up to uncleanliness in the lust of their hearts, to dishonor their bodies and among themselves, who exchanged their bodies among themselves, who exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator. So it's basically saying they're just in the flesh. They're just going by whatever their body's wanting to do. I'm not beating my flesh down. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to listen to my God voice within, right? Goes back to my belief that every single one of us human beings was born with God's moral compass within us. It ain't out about there. It ain't about in four walls of a thing called church. Church is in here. God's in here. So for this reason, God gave them up to vile passions, for even their women exchanged the natural use of what is against nature. Likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust for one another, men with men, committing what is shameful, and receiving in themselves the penalty of their error which was due. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not fitting, being filled with all unrighteousness, sexual immorality, wickedness, covetousness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit. Think about a narcissist. They lie upon lie upon lie. It's the reprobate mind because they've chosen over and over again to turn from their voice within them, to ignore their consciousness that's in them, telling them what I'm doing right now is not right. They don't beat their flesh down. They go with the flesh. Full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, evil-mindedness. They are whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, violent, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, undiscerning, untrustworthy, unloving, unforgiving, unmerciful, who knowing the righteous judgment of God, that those who practice such things are deserving of death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. See what I mean about going back to the vibe that they're in? They're going to go with somebody who enables their behavior. They're going to go with somebody that don't question them. They're not going to stay somewhere where there's actually... my faith was made mockery of when my husband left me and I realized he was having an affair, because it took 2 days after he blindsided me and left that, oh no, you didn't leave me for quiet time. You left me for the one that you were laying up sexually with, in perversion with, in lust with at work. So I said, me and my women, my powerful women, you know who you are. My prayer warriors are praying for you. And I was made mockery of. My faith was made mockery of, because when I said we're praying for you, he literally told me, and I have text today to prove it, not that I need to prove it, the reply that I received from the person with the reprobate mind said, you have so much faith in a faithless man. And that was the first time in 12 years that he revealed that he's a faithless man. And the whole while, he knew my love of Yeshua as my guide. He knew my faith meant everything to me, especially after the loss of my child. And so I was made mockery of. So basically this verse, and this was, I'm sorry, I don't think I said this. This was Romans 1:18 through 32, if you'd like to go ahead and read that yourselves. But it's basically, you know, when it says, and as even as they did not like to retain their God in their knowledge. So basically, Creator's saying, listen, I gave you a moral compass. I gave you the Holy Spirit within you to listen to your conscience. And so when you're morally doing something that's wrong, lustful, deceitful, and the betrayal part, you know, this person and my husband plotted against me. They collaborated against me. And that level of evil and that level of deceit and that level of ignoring what is right within him, specifically with vows, he will have his day when there's a hard run-in brick wall. And it's actually very sad. I hold empathy. I would never run back into a burning fire myself that I finally am out of. And I believe there was definitely some God intervention there, because I was still being misled and lied to right up to the end. And I will never go back to that. However, I was listening to a bishop the other day, and he said, love the person, hate the entities that are in them. And really, to me, we know this on a psychological level, in the scientific level. Even Dr. Phil says it, that you will not heal a narcissist. But I do believe in the Holy Spirit, and I do believe the power of Christ. if that person were to stop being in denial and running from accountability, if they turned and faced Creator, that would be their only chance. But do not fall prey to these people. They will continue to go on the path of the reprobate mind as long as they ignore their God voice within them. I hope this was helpful for you today. If you're on the receiving end of this, and if you've been in experience with somebody who showed all of those traits of a reprobate mind, just know that you're not alone. The healing journey is possible. Please do not take yourself out over somebody like this, because like I said, many people don't make it out of it if they don't out themselves. Cling to the divine. It's important to have a spiritual foundation. Heal, cry, grow, but never in your mind and in your heart think that you can love somebody enough for them to see the light. Much love to you guys. I'm sorry this was a little bit longer. Please do listen to it, comment, share it out to all of your platforms. And until the next time, shalom, shalom.